Today on the channel, I'm going to show you how to play Comin' Under Fire by Leppard. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to play the song Comin' Under Fire by Leppard. This is a great song off of Pyromania, and recently on YouTube I saw a video of these guys playing this song a few days ago on like Sirius XM on live radio, and it was tremendous. I'm like, man, I need to relearn that song and do a lesson because it's one of my favorite tracks off Pyromania and I've never done it. So without further ado, let's get started. Now this song is in standard tuning. It's in the key of E minor. So there's our E minor. All right, it was produced by Mutt Lange. And Mutt Lange, if many of you are familiar with Mutt Lange co-wrote and helped arrange all these songs off of Pyromania and Hysteria. I mean, he's a brilliant producer and a great songwriter. So this song is really tricky. There's some real rhythmic things in here that are really really serious. They're really important, I guess. You could say they're serious. They're really important to the feel of the song. When you listen to it, it doesn't really seem like a lot's going on in there, but when you break it down, there is. And I'll demonstrate. I've got my metronome next to me tonight, so I can keep beat and show you what I'm talking about. So, not to be scared, but there's a little bit of homework to do on this and to get ready for it. So, anyway, the introduction, I'm going to break it down into segments. I'm going to show you like the intro riff, and then I'm going to show you the riff during the verse. I'm going to show you the chorus riff and then the main riff, okay? And then you can marry them all together. But there's a bunch of riffs in this song, and there's like a little outro thing that I'm going to show you. And I'll give you some tips and tricks on what's going on with the lead work on there, which I think is Steve Clark. But this song is totally Steve Clark when you listen to these riffs, and I'm a huge Steve Clark fan, big influence of mine, and gosh, those early Leppard albums were fantastic. Anyway, the first riff in the song is the intro riff, and it comes back around in the song before the guitar solo also. And the main tone I've got is pretty crunchy like this. I'm going to roll back because back in those days, those guys used basically just plexi Marshalls and those kind of amps where you had to really crank them up to get the grit, and then they use their volume to roll back to get the tone, much like AC/DC, much like Van Halen, all the classic rock bands. It's just what we did back in those days. So we're going to roll back so the tone sounds like this. All right, a little bit of hair on it, lots of headroom, and then when you turn it up, you can kind of chug with it, right? But rolled back, we're going to have a little bit of a breakup. All right, so this riff goes. Okay, so what I'm doing there is I'm doing a power chord C, or power chord E, like this. All right, we're gonna go like that. And we're going to go one note back down on an upstroke. So it's a 4-note pattern, like that on the tablature. Okay? Then we're going to make it a minor chord. It's a minor 7, actually. It's an E minor 7. So the second pattern goes like this. First one, and then the second one. So those two together. Then he goes, so we're going to be on a D, C to a D, but I'm going to be on the middle D and G string. Now sometimes it sounds like he's just going, what I'm doing there is D and the G string on the 7th fret, and then slide it down to the 5th, so it's like a C chord. And then hit it back up, slide it back up to the 7th. But sometimes it sounds like he goes, sometimes it sounds like he does this D power chord like that. But I'm going to show you like this. But just keep in mind he's going kind of like that. So from the beginning, so I broke it up a little bit. So sometimes I think they just play around with the riff. So if I do the metronome on this, okay, so there's the intro part right there. Then they roll up on the volume. That's one pattern, and then it repeats that same pattern. So what I'm doing is I'm chugging on this low E. That's kind of my pedal tone. I'm going to do a power chord E, like this. It's like an E5, kind of. It's just a root and a fifth. Then go. So let's learn these chords. The chords are that's a C major with an E on the bass. So, and then we're gonna go. That's a C flat 5. Back up to a C5 power chord. So. And the last part goes. So what I'm doing there is a D major with an E or a F sharp on the bass, and then go up to here, which is a G chord, back down to this D inversion, down to a D5 chord, a D power chord. So. Chug. With a metronome. Okay, so there's the main riff. That's kind of like the follow-up of the chorus riff. This ancient metronome. Okay. All right, so let's look at this verse. This verse, they wind it down a little bit. They crank it back down, and they're going to get kind of quiet. And it's very simple. They just go. So the only difference in this, it starts off with this E power chord. That's a D major. It goes up to this C with the E on the bass, and then it goes up to this inversion. So it does that a couple times. All right, and then before it goes into the chorus, he goes. All right, so from the verse part with a metronome, rolled back. the chorus is fun. The chorus goes like this. Well, it goes into it like... So I'm doing a C5 chord, a B5 chord, into an E. So it goes... It's 2 strokes on the C, 2 on the B, and then 2 on the E. So he hits a power chord D before that. So what I'm doing there is I'm going down into the chorus like this. So when it goes out of this C, B, E thing, he rides up. He goes E, F sharp, G, D, power chord, to a C immediately. So that's what I'm talking about. That's that Mutt Lange tricky stuff. So let me play it with the metronome, all right? So I'll come out of this verse. Cool. So slowly on that chorus, just to repeat. All right, so once again, that intro riff is... Cool. Now there's a little middle part where he goes... So that little middle part is just E to a C, E to a D. Totally a Mutt Lange thing, I guarantee you, but that's like a little breakdown, okay? And now at the very end he goes... That's the very ending. It's kind of weird because he starts on a D, then he goes to an E, an open E to a D, C, D, D, E, D, C, E. All right, so in in the very beginning, there's like a little solo he goes. So I'm not going to go over the solo in this because honestly, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's kind of forgettable. I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but it's just E minor pentatonic stuff up on this position. So I would encourage you to come up with like your own little basic riffs out of there that are melodic. Now, Steve Clark played very melodically and memorably, and it sounds like a Steve Clark solo. I could be wrong, but in the very beginning where they're going, they do that a couple times, and then he goes. So he's just on the 14th fret on the G string. He bends up a whole step, release, then 12 on the G string, and then 14. And then he bends the 15th fret on the B string up. He bends it up a whole step to that E. Now, and then he goes. Sometimes he'll add this F sharp in there, which is the second in the E minor chord. So if you're not familiar with adding F sharp to your E minor pentatonic, you really need to work on that. So it's really melodic. It's got a very sad and moody tone to it. And Def Leppard did this a lot, and George Lynch did it a lot of guys. But if you can always tell it, because it'll sound like this. I love it. I go to that all the time. That's like one of my cliche things. Kind of a Sykes thing too. So what I'm on is the 11th fret on the G string. I'm on the 14th fret on the high E. Those are F sharp, so you can bend it a half step up to the G, which is the minor third. That's what makes it so cool, is when you bend it. If you just play an F sharp over an E minor, it has this tonality. It's like an E minor 2 chord. Sounds like James Bond or something. And you go, like the E minor arpeggio. Up there, the F sharp is right there on the 19th fret. So if you so it's beautiful. So in this song, there's like this part where he goes. Kind of gives it more of a scale like Dorian mode approach, and it's not just pentatonic. Gives it that kind of feel. So play around with that. But anyway, that's Coming Under Fire by Def Leppard off Pyromania. I hope this quick lesson was helpful. You enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing, comment below, and as always, have a great day. Peace out.